counterfeit spirits, some of those left behind. And then you understand why we don't seem to be of a certain people that we were all in the same origin of at one time. You know what I'm saying? So some powerful shit.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? But this ain't about no popularity contest. We urge people to study. You see what I'm saying? Some amazing stuff.
It's deep, deep.
Yep.
Wow.
That gets into a little bit of what the sits and stuff and the about the grafting and
Yeah, you just gotta take it all and put it back in the African court.
right.
And then you find out in actuality.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you see the Egyptians
Right.
having Africans tied up on the walls and the temple walls.
Wow.
Then you find out in actuality that there was some people understanding that there was this cosmic battle of this earthly terrestrial battle
Right.
between two different spirits.
Right.
And that's when you see the Norma tablet and the smiting scenes on the walls and temples, and you see these great wars that go on before white people get on the scene. It's a battle between the counterfeit spirits and the true spirits. And then it gets even worse, which asks the question when we first started off about Typhonian versus Amun or the dynastic. The Typhonians end up being blamed and called the counterfeit spirits, and so forth and so on. It's real mixed up.
Right. Right.
Yeah, the story changes.
It changes, and it's real confusing. You just got to understand the principles, because the political thing can be confusing. But we do know now, in the latter part, you understand that obviously the hell we went through, that we got to be the true particles.
We gotta be.
Because, no, we are the true particles for the mere fact that I'm talking about this shit.
Right.
Yeah.
You see,
Right.
it's amazing.
Yeah. So, how would you know, or do you have the information on how do you know what is a counterfeit spirit, or how can you tell?
It's too ancient. It's too ancient to even contemplate. But we will know the counterfeit spirits. We know that majority of the later counterfeit spirits, whites, have a greater stock. The majority of them.
Right.
It's hard to tell, even in Africa, because not all people on the continent are counterfeit spirits.
Right.
Because they didn't take everybody out of Africa.
Right.
And this has got to come when ultimately the energies are lifted from the spiritual shells that would even hide these things.
Right.
And those energies lifted, the ones that are only spiritual, because spirit is different than the souls. Those that are only spiritual will dissipate and disintegrate.
Okay.
Those who have the true souls would be the true primordial sparks that were sent in to clean up the debauchery.
Okay. Okay.
You see.
So
That's how we would know.
okay. So just for example, some of the Uncle Tom, Negroes, bootlicking motherfuckers like.
It's really kind of unfair and hard to use that as an analysis, as an analogy, because we got a cosmic drama going on here, and it's always a fight.
Okay.
Now it has been brought to my attention, and it's logical, even in my research, that Uncle Tom's a lot of time, if you look at a bigger picture of what's going on.
Okay.
If you look at the smaller picture, it's sad. But if you look at a bigger picture, Uncle Tom's a lot of times were necessary. Because we do know that Although we couldn't tell what kind of enemies were in the African skin.
Right.
You could damn sure tell what kind of enemies, what it was between black and white, and we just so happened to be, you understand what I'm saying, on the receiving end of ass whippings.
Right.
Losing the war at that particular time. But we understood that the white boy went in fear of knowing that one day this earth would belong to us. So to keep him pacified, a lot of times the Uncle Tom was necessary, because if the white man wasn't so sure that he had the black man in check based on the Uncle Toms, he would have killed us all in our vulnerable state. So the Uncle Tom was a buffer zone, not for the white man to have supremacy over us, but it was a buffer zone for us to also have protection by a person that is paranoid, xenophobic, you know,
right,
which is a fear of other races. You see what I'm saying?
right,
Sexist in all ways, and a warlike creature, a warfare maniac. So this particular Uncle Toms a lot of time were pacifiers, and they act as decoys.
Okay.
To keep them from massacring all of us, because we know he's capable of doing it. He's done it to other parts of our race before.
Right.
But they had to be, the ones in the West had to be protected. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So therefore that was a part of warfare again. Strategies.
Okay.
Keep your enemies close.
Right.
Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer.
Closer. I got that. So, I've heard you for a number of years. I've heard you talk about AWAS and slaves of AWAS.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. And when you was talking about the white man or the Uncle Tom being a decoy, it kind of reminded me of that great spirit of AWAS, and how AWAS, I heard you use the term slaves of AWAS.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it kind of like put me in a mind frame of dealing with that particular energy of how AWAS or that particular energy used them in so many words, because now we get to the point where I think we had this conversation the other day about how the white man is really dumb. He's really not as smart.
No.
He's really not smart at all. So then when you're dealing with the counterfeit spirits, then
sometimes they need to be manipulated.
Right. That's exactly what I was going with that.
Into working for us. Haphazardly. In the aspect that they might not be aware of it, but because of their nature is, they wouldn't dare do it. Sometime in the grand scheme of things, they need to be manipulated. Just like the side who had us slavery in the spirit world manipulated us to do certain deeds and things to under the behest or to secure their existence or maintain their existence. We also, our side manipulate the people in power a lot of times to do certain things, because the people who are the subjects of the people in power are too vulnerable to do it. So therefore, it's a tug of war between these particular principalities in the spirit world.
Right.
And AWAS being a form of Horus.
Right.
And an agent or an angel on our side manipulated Europeans a lot of times. You see what I'm saying? And not just AWAS, it was probably other agents or spirits or angels on our side that had to manipulate Europeans.
Okay.
Europeans to do the bidding. In so many words, and give you an example. All this work that we left behind, all these ancient texts that we would need in the future, that we had gone into slavery and sleep. When we came out, we would need these texts.
Okay.
But we were in a stupor state of sleep, and we couldn't translate these texts a lot of times, or preserve these texts, let's put it this way, because we translated them before we went to sleep. So we would have a history of putting them in the hands even of the enemy. And the enemy thinking that he is doing good by himself and his people by preserving these texts, they would ultimately be preserving them for us in a bigger picture of things. And this is the way that we kept certain amount of knowledge on the planet moving. You see what I'm saying? Even when we were too sick to maintain our own information, we use